For the Geeks podcast. Now sponsored by NPR.
No, we're not.
Fucking shit, I wish.
That'd be great.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the For the Geeks podcast. I don't know what episode it is. I'm
28
half dead and half asleep. It's been a long week thing.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah, missed last week because I was also asleep, but it is what it is. But we're back. We got a lot of stuff to cover today, so let's get the general stuff out of the way so we can start talking and chatting. As always, I am your host, Jonathan Miranda. Alongside me, our co-host, Chris Seger.
What's up?
Affectionately known as Sniffles.
Shut up.
Everyone loves him.
Yeah. There's a sniffle for you.
And this is my instant coffee that tastes terrible but has caffeine and will keep me alive for the podcast.
Weak.
Put that over there. Oh man, how have you been?
I've been pretty good. I lost a couple pounds in 2 weeks. I lost like 3.5. So there's that. I pooped it all out. It's good. I got some new figures. I got this cool. Well, you can't really see it, but you can see the box art. It's called Deep Blue Vegeta. It's basically Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. All they did was recolor the SH Figure Arts Super Saiyan Vegeta one and recolor the armor as well. I also got Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Well, you can see the image right here. So there's that. Yeah. I also got My Hero Academia fans. There we go. Izuku Midoriya. Hell yeah. I have on pre-order Bakugo and Todoroki as well. I'm waiting for, I think the next figure they're going to announce is like Iron All Might, but I'm like, I don't care for that. I want actual All Might. Stop humping the air.
Moaning. Trying to scooch my
the people who aren't watching this will think you're moaning. Shit.
That's fine. Brings them to the OnlyFans, you know?
We don't have
where you can get praise kinks.
Nope. We're not doing
a
that.
Cheap price compared to your therapist.
We're not doing that here at all. And then I also got a Sam Wilson Captain America with the wings and everything figure because I like that design, and a big titty anime girl figure that I'm not going to show on stream. For future demonetization if we ever get monetized. But yeah, I also watched. I binged last week. Starting from 2 Fridays ago, season 6 of Cobra Kai. It was fucking amazing. If you guys like the Karate Kid and you think Danny LaRusso is a fucking asshole and idiot, which he is, and Johnny Lawrence is the real Karate Kid, this is the show for you. It is about Johnny Lawrence. It's a great fucking show. Corny and 80s. It's fantastic. Highly recommend it. I'm not going to say much more, but check it out. It's really good. Killswitch Engage released a new album that I started listening to. I'm like, this is great. My favorite band, in case nobody knows.
I like how you're on this docket.
Well, yeah, because this is
separate instances.
What's the other instance?
The anonymous bat.
Huh? Up there. That's weird. Anyway. What was I saying? See, shut up.
Chewing. I don't know.
No, Killswitch Engage. Yeah, they have a new tour coming out this year, but I'm not going to go see them because they're in like Wetland, California, Wheatland. I'm not flying an hour and a half to go listen to music. I'd rather just drive.
It's an adventure.
I don't give a fuck. I'm not flying to go listen to music.
You could drive if you want.
I'm not driving 6 hours for a concert. I want to drive 1 hour.
Make a fucking weekend out of it.
No. I want to drive there and drive back home in the same day. That's it.
That's fucking lame, dude.
I don't give a fuck.
That sucks.
Too bad. So sad. They'll still be here. And then Dragon Ball Daima, Super Saiyan 4. Spoilers. Whatever. Some people haven't seen it yet.
Wow.
Adult Goku returns.
Right
because I'm flying through it. We have a lot to get through.
We don't have to get through everything.
Yes, we do, because it's news. Anyway, Super Saiyan 4 Adult Goku, banging. Episode 20 premiered yesterday. Very disappointing, unfortunately, because Goku wins, but he says he had the power to get to Super Saiyan 4 this whole time, but he didn't know if he could do it because he did a lot of training after they beat Majin Buu. And while Vegeta was training on his own to get Super Saiyan 3, Goku was training to get Super Saiyan 4. And he's just like, yeah, I didn't know if I could get it. So he could activate it this whole time. And that is a retcon because there is a manga panel as well as anime frame that Goku says to Beerus in Battle of Gods, Super Saiyan 3 is my final form right now. There's nothing after this. Yeah. So what the fuck? Toriyama, king of Dragon Ball and Shonen,
king of retcons.
And the king of retcons. Just like, God damn it. You couldn't just seal this with like a memory wipe? Fuck, man. So like
That'd be too convenient.
The only thing
would be way too convenient.
The only thing I can think of to fix this is if, because at the end episode they found more evil eyes in a jar and they're like, oh, there's more of these things. And he's like, and the shop owner's like, yeah, I sold one a long time ago. I don't know what happened to it. So that's not the one that Goma had because he got his via Wish. No, sorry, not via Wish. He got it somehow. But it sets it up for like a season 2 if there ever was a season 2, because I guess the studio announced that Daima is going to like set the stage for other adventures. I'm like, okay, so if they do, they can fix the retcon if they continue the show and something happens to Goku where he can no longer use Super Saiyan 4. Thus, it would make sense in Battle of Gods, which is what we need. This is the biggest retcon in the entire fucking show, and it pisses me off. It's not the same as Trunks having purple hair and then having blue hair, because Toei decided, hey, we're going to give him purple hair, even though Bulma's hair is blue. Like, what the fuck? Listen to the creator, not fucking your art team, idiots. Whatever. Anyway, that's what happened to me. What happened to you?
God, you just million miles a minute.
We have a lot to get through.
No, not too much. Almost done catching up on Tower of God season 2. I'm enjoying it a bit. I think I'm just gonna go back and read it though.
Yeah,
the animation kind of started to lack at the end of it, and
it's very mid.
The story itself is perfectly fine. It is just the animation quality itself is a little on the lesser side. So like, while the story remains the same, and people are all fucking pissed, it was like, oh well, I don't understand what the hell's going on. I can't figure out what's happening in the story. It's just happening. It's like, dude, you guys should see what these chapters were built like. Like, you don't understand. It was 40 manhwa page chapters. And there's a big difference between what a manhwa page is and a manga page is. Manhwa pages are fucking vertical tiles that go for like 4 or 5 whole pages. And 4 or 5 of those whole pages were all fucking dialogue. Like, there is definitely like parts of the story that are getting left out and left behind because it misses some of the general, gist of what's happening. And if you can get that, you're fine. But there's definitely like other subplot lines and things being brought up that you don't get, lots of lore and things like that. So I can see where people are upset, and I understand it and I accept it. But I still think people are being a little too nasty about it because it's just like, dude, it's still a really good story. If you really need the full details, go read the freaking webtoon. It's really good. It's fun. It's a good time. I enjoy it. And nonetheless, I'm like, oh well, they're about to start the Hell Train arc, and it's another one of my favorite arcs from the series. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna go back to Hell Train and start from there because that's better than reading all the way from the fucking beginning. I can't even remember how long it took me to catch up on it. It took me like the better part of a fucking year or something.
Jesus.
Can't remember because I think I had to catch up to like chapter 180 something, and by the time I caught up, I was on. They were at like 2 something. I don't know. Something like that.
Something.
But I was doing that. Been playing a lot of Terraria.
Yeah, with me, Terrarian.
Speaking of, if you guys didn't get to catch the stream that was on YouTube on Friday, you guys can go check it out. It should be posted on the page there. I didn't double check it, but I did set it up that it would. So
it's there. I checked.
I was gonna say you should see a video of me streaming with Seger and Jack. And we're all playing Terraria. It's very fun. Terraria, whatever.
You can listen to me raw because I talk like an idiot.
But it's a good time. I am gonna try and start streaming more on the For the Geeks YouTube page.
Yeah.
While I do multi-stream from my stuff here, I will be streaming on my own personal Twitch, and I'll be streaming on the For the Geeks YouTube. So whatever I end up streaming on those times, come by and hang out so you can see what we're doing and
Yay.
how we're having fun and things like that.
Yay.
If you haven't done so already, you should go check it out and follow us anyways, though. You know, the same old things. The For the Geeks name has to get out there somehow, and we would appreciate any attention you could give us. As you can tell, we are very what's the word? I don't know the word.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
It's too early. I don't know. I can't find the word anymore. We need fans. We need friends. So please come hang out.
Yeah. Please. Yeah.
I had a pretty decent turnout actually on my Twitch. A lot
you
of
did.
people showed up.
There were like 8 people.
I had that one stream sent my average viewers up to like 5. I was like, oh,
nice. Cool.
And I think we had like a max of like 14, 19 at one point.
Damn.
And then like it like petered out and like averaged around 8 to 9 for the rest of the stream.
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad.
That is good.
But yeah, there'll be other games. I'll probably stream a little bit more later today. I wanted to start streaming Tactics Ogre because I just bought it and I haven't played it in a long fucking time.
Oh, cool.
For those of you who don't know what Tactics Ogre is, it is essentially the what is it?
Successor?
What do you call it? It is. I don't know if it's a successor because it came out the same year that Tactics did. Final Fantasy Tactics, but it's basically a tactics style game, just not based on the Final Fantasy world. Very medievally, very knights and magic and all that bull crap. But it's really cool. It's a classic. A lot of people love it. It is highly touted between being the best tactics game between Final Fantasy Tactics and itself.
That's
but yeah, I haven't played it in a really fucking long time because I didn't play it when they re-released it on the PSP, and I didn't play it when they re-released it on the PS3. So I got it now with the new remaster, and it's nice. I'm enjoying it. There's voice acting now, like really nice voice acting. They took away a couple of systems from the PSP version that kind of fucked everything up, and changed it a little bit. So it's kind of what's the word? It's a little bit more. It's been redesigned to be a little bit more accessible. So I'm excited to see just how it turns out. And as always, it is a cool storyline of medieval betrayals and things like that. So if you like that kind of stuff, come hang out. It may be a slog. I'm not going to lie to you. Tactics games tend to be really long-winded. But I might do some League too, so not sure.
Ew.
Not sure yet. We'll see where the afternoon goes, and we'll take it from there. But besides that, let's just start getting into some of the stuff that we missed over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, a bunch of stoofing.
So the first thing I would like to bring up, at least for me, that I think is important-ish from it, is the new Avatar show. So we got
oh my god, yeah,
release information from the voice actors for Zuko and Korra that there's going to be a new Avatar series coming out that takes place after the Legend of Korra. Which
after Korra's
all
fuck
you
up,
fucking haters out of there, you guys can go fuck yourselves because
fucked up the world.
Korra is super fucking cool,
but she fucked
you
up the world.
You guys are just a bunch of dissies. Korra is not a terrible avatar, and come fight me in the comments. I don't fucking care. Korra was great.
She fucked up the
world. She was a totally fine character, and you guys fucking destroyed her with
homie hopper.
Fucking hatred. You bunch of like, what are you, fucking anti-lesbian haters? Jesus Christ.
He sleeps around Avatar.
That's fine. That's fine. Kiyoshi murdered people. Like, physically just murdered people for no fucking reason. And that's better than somebody who like is trying to figure their fucking life out and figure out who they are as a person and what their role is as the Avatar in a world that is changing to not need the Avatar. Like, come on.
Caused a massive cataclysm to happen.
She did. She caused a cataclysm, but that was because she didn't know how to fucking deal with the problems at hand, and that's normal. No,
yeah, but now
people have this fucking made up conception that because Aang was so like
innocent,
so not innocent, but like so what's the word? The way he brought the world together, the way that he did things, and how the story was a very average, typical, not averages in like bland, but averages in the medium.
No, yeah, I understand. That makes sense. It's
a very average
standard
tale of the hero's story. It is basically that. It is very basic. it's good and it's told in a way that is very interesting and exciting and engaging.
Yeah.
But it is still just a hero story. I feel like Korra's story was in itself a hero story, but it was more focused on the living up to the reputation, the traumas of it all. She came up. We saw an age where avatars were never heard of, and they thought the avatar just didn't exist. Now we're in an age where you have to live up to the success. You have to be the successor to the previous avatar who did all these great things. How do you live in that great shadow? So you watch Korra grow up in that sense, growing through that and learning and becoming, more in touch with who she is supposed to be as an avatar.
No, I agree. I'm not a hater of Avatar. I'm just giving you shit. But
Yeah.
I am one of the few people I'm the only person that I know that actually liked Korra. I may not put it as high as The Last Airbender, but it's like right here. I mean, it's good. Especially season 1. That was knock it out of the park, obviously. That one was fantastic with Korra.
Season 1 was good. Season 2 was okay. Season 3 was the best, and then season 4 was good.
Which one was 3? Was that the
3
spirits?
Was the one when no 2 was the spirits one.
Oh yeah, that one's.
2 was the spirits one, I think, and then 3 was the one where she ran into Toph again. 3 is when she got her avatar powers back. It was when she was.
Oh, you didn't like Kuvira and all that? I liked it because I was like, this is badass metal bending. Like, this is what I want to see. I want to see other elements other than the main 4 constantly used, and she was wrecking Korra in that fight in the desert. I was like, damn, that's fucking cool. So I like the Kuvira arc and whatever.
I liked the arc with the dude that was in prison.
Oh yeah, the criminals, those guys. I like that too.
I can't remember his name right now, but
neither can I.
That whole arc was really fucking cool because it pushed the boundaries of what Korra had to do.
Yeah,
she didn't want to do certain things, and there he was like, "Well, now you don't have a fucking choice. It's live or die." And like, there were some massively brutal kills in that season.
Yeah.
Like, insane. Like, tell me that getting metal wrapped around your face and exploding your own head is not fucking metal as fuck.
Come on, literally metal.
That shit was hardcore. Like, Aang never did anything that half as brutal as that. Like, it's insane.
But the plot for the new Avatar show is basically there's a female Avatar. She learns she's an Avatar. She's an Earthbender, which is what I wanted. I always want another show with a different tribe.
It's following the cycle.
Yeah. So hopefully there's a Firebender one after this in the future. But anyway, they're doing that. She has to find her long lost. She finds her long lost twin, and they have to discover their origins and all that. And they also are on the run because of the cataclysm with Korra and whatever. The world doesn't like the Avatar anymore, so they're being hunted by humans and spirits. So they're gonna have to learn to deal with that and bring everyone back together into not fucking hating the Avatar. So that's gonna be interesting to watch for the season.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
It should be cool. I'm excited too. So I'm hoping to get more news out of it sometime soon.
Yeah,
I would be really happy about that. Mm-hmm. Other stuff that happened in the last couple weeks. We got a bunch of trailers and like releases for stuff. Dune Awakening has its release.
Yeah, May 20th.
I read an article. I think I closed it already. Shit. An article saying that whoever had tried it out said it was one of the most highly anticipated kind of survival games coming out right now.
Have told me that.
They're saying it's very good. They're saying it's really, really fun.
Yeah, fuck the haters. Yeah,
I'm excited.
I love Dune, and I trust Funcom. Funcom, for those of you who don't know, made Conan Exiles. It's a really good survival game where you can just do whatever you want. You're dropped into...
throw baby elephants into a bag.
I guess you land. I just did role playing. You land in the outskirts of some fucking civilization, wherever, called the Exiled Lands or whatever. You have to figure out what happened because you did something to get sent there, and as you're playing, similarly, I guess, to Dark Souls games, you're not told the story. You find the story out there in the world. So you could be killing bandits and you'll pick up a piece of parchment and you'll learn some of the story of what happened here or whatever. And then over time you piece it together, which is quite interesting. It's an actual sandbox game. There's no linearity to it at all. And it's a survival game too. So I trust Funcom, and I hope that I can't wait to see what happens with Dune Awakening, because they claim it's an MMO, and I'm like, I want to see what happens.
I wish I had gotten access to the beta.
Me
It would've been really
too.
fun. I wanted to try it. I signed up, just never got anything back for it.
It happens a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. There's also a new Street Fighter movie coming out soon-ish, or
Coming from the director of Twisted Metal, the show, which I've never seen. I never played the games. I know everyone played Twisted Metal. I played Vigilante 8. That was my car apocalyptic battle game. It was fun as fuck. I don't give a shit.
Hey, you know what? To be fair, older generational knockoff games did actually have like class to them, and they felt good still. Nowadays, knockoffs just feel like knockoffs. They don't even feel that great. It's insane.
They suck. But yeah, I'm looking forward.
Funny thing about Twisted Metal, there was a PS5 Twisted Metal being put together, and they had planned it around the battle royale kind of like gameplay style, third-person shooter or third-person kind of game. It actually probably would have been really cool if it hadn't gotten canceled. I mean, if you think about it, sure, battle royales are like a fad or whatever have you.
But it would fit with Twisted Metal because you're trying to be number one anyway.
The whole thing about the Twisted Metal series was that's what everything was. Like, it was a tournament the whole way through.
Yeah.
So like that, I feel like it would have been a really fun, like, unique take on what Twisted Metal was. Just kind of sad when it got canceled. Just kind of sad didn't get to see the light of day. Speaking
of canceled, though, segue, Warner Brothers shuts down some studios and cancels the Wonder Woman game. Yeah, because they just don't know what the funny. They're, according to memes and people, they're allergic to money, which they really are. Because, like, a great example as to why they're allergic to money, they patented the fucking Nemesis system of Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. Have they done anything with it? No. Nobody else can do it. They basically said, hey, we made something cool. Nobody else can have this and have fun. What the fuck are y'all doing? God damn it. Just make a game.
In their defense, to play the devil's advocate to that one, patenting it kind of gives it a little bit more value. All the way till, like, what was it, 2026 or 36?
2036 it's patent.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So that seems like a stretch. Patenting it that far out, especially with how old Shadow of War is. Shadow of War came out in what, 2017?
Yeah, that shit's old.
That's nearly a 20-year patent. The fact that they haven't used it is where I see them being afraid of money.
Yeah.
But the thing with them patenting it is it gives it more value down the line, sort of, so to speak. A short patent would have been like, oh, well, now we have to have this technology. Like, we need to know how you did it. We'll pay you for it.
I will.
But with a 20-year gap like that, it kind of loses its relevance. Your recency bias goes away. Technology changes. Like the next thing we're going to talk about right now, like, technology continues to change. And once it changes, there's no going back to the old technology and making it feel fresh most of the time.
No,
it's really difficult hard to do because the types of games that we play consistently change all the time. The current standard for a good action adventure game is things like heavy narratively involved. Is that the right way to say it?
I don't
mind
know.
me. My English ain't working so good today, folks. I'm very tired. They're very narratively driven games like God of War, Ragnarok, Horizon Zero, things like that. Like
Ghost
of Tsushima. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption, very
narrative-driven ones.
Player story focused. Given that there's a big jump between kind of like what type of action game you're playing in those senses, but nonetheless, the story is a very huge point. So having this Nemesis system kind of try to evolve with how these games are also evolving is going to be much more difficult in that sense. Oh shit, I had to eat. So fuck. Sorry, something popped into my head right now that I need to do. I just remembered. It's a D&D thing for one of the other games I'm playing.
Oh, okay.
DM asked us to email or DM her the information of our characters.
I asked you for your pictures. You never give it to me too.
I haven't found a good one yet. I'm still trying to find one. David doesn't have one yet.
Okay, but anyway, going back to the Warner Brothers thing with the the Nemesis system. This goes back to what I was complaining about a couple of weeks ago in a previous podcast, where it's stupid to patent in-game mechanics, because then you ruin the production of games when you start patenting systems, because then it's like, oh, I can't do this because it's too similar to this system. I can't do this.
Yeah.
You lose the freedom of creativity when you start patenting mechanics in video games. So they need to fucking never do that with any. I hope no other studio patents
there you go.
their
That's
mechanics.
the way to say it.
It's so dumb.
I was like waiting for it. I was like, you can find it.
Shut up. Yeah.
Like, I agree. I don't think that patenting certain things is a great idea in terms of creativity and development and growth. But I do think that if you patent it, you should use it in that sense. So there are so many Warner Brothers games that have come out recently that could have gotten much more out of the Nemesis system if they had used it in those same systems. See, that's the thing. The Arkham games could have full on.
Well, that would have been neat.
Survived a fucking purge if they had just used the Nemesis system. It would have been great. It makes sense. Batman's enemies becoming Nemesis. Like, imagine like having that happen. Like, it would have been good.
Yeah,
because Batman never kills, so obviously his enemies, his villains are gonna escape somehow.
Yeah.
Same thing with Superman. It could work with Superman too. But like, there's so many things they could do with it, and it not being used and sitting gathering dust is a big disappointment in terms of the evolution of gaming as we know it.
Yeah.
But speaking of the evolution of gaming, look at this segue.
Nice.
I'm sure you've all seen this video. It did resurface again and get a little bit more publicity a couple weeks ago, but about a month to 2 months ago, there was a video during a convention that showcased using AI in a video game in a very clever way. We're talking about the
Mir 5.
Mir 5,
yeah.
MERS, whatever.
Mir 5.
Basically, it is an AI engine that runs a boss encounter, and the tech demo they set up was that of a kind of like an MMO style setting. You've got your basic classes of characters and this and that, and they showed off that the boss itself was essentially learning from how you play. So it would what do you call it? Recognize key characters, recognize their roles, use their skills, and then calculate out what the highest valuable target would be.
It's usually the healer in the party.
Healer,
yeah.
Which is the
strategy in PvP situations. Always target the healer. Unless they're a tanky healer, then you go after whoever's the squishiest. But the fact that AI is capable of doing this in video games is fucking fantastic. This would be great for people to have better gameplay and learn how to fix their weaknesses when they're playing against bosses and whatnot, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it kind of just adds this other level of intelligence to games that I feel we have a lack of.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of boss fights, even in my experience with these newer games, still feel like it's just a cut and paste kind of approach. You fight the boss, you figure its moves, and the boss kind of just keeps doing its moves. And against a real opponent, they wouldn't do that. I would hope they would notice that you're doing the same thing back to them to counter them, and so they would pick a counter themselves.
If they're intelligent, yeah.
It happens in fighting games all the time. It's a basic theory of footsies. You learn what your opponent does, and you abuse the things that they're doing that are obviously leaving them open.
Yeah.
Things like that in boss fights would change the world. Honestly,
that's a good use of AI.
The entire landscape of video gaming.
Yeah,
definitely a better use of AI. But it's still just like impressive that we could have these encounters where you're playing a game, and the way that somebody I watched recently put it is like, imagine how hard it is to fight a Souls boss already. You have to learn all these patterns, and you have to learn all these things, and you get to read the opponent. And the whole power fantasy in this is that I have memorized enough of your movements that I know exactly what you're going to do every time, and I can dodge every one of them to a varying degree of error.
Yeah.
Now imagine that AI system, the MIR5, in an Elden Ring, Soulsborne kind of setting. Like, You thought it was bad that the bosses already were fucking tough? Imagine what they can do when they learn you're dodging them at this point and know that they can cancel out into something else and fuck your shit up.
Yeah.
Like, it will be the most infuriating thing, but it is just so exciting.
That's like when I play, if they had that AI in like fighting games or like my younger self, because I knew this was my weakness before, is I like to be flashy. So instead of being smart, you know this because I used to play fighting games with you. You trained me how to recognize things when we were younger. I'd fight against you, and you're just, I'm probably sure in your head, you're just like, this fucker keeps spamming specials. Like, he could just do combos and beat me, but he keeps spamming, you know, the Hadouken or whatever. And if an AI, I don't, but if an AI was able to do that, that'd be fucking incredible. Be like, oh, this guy keeps spamming his ultimate. Okay, I know exactly how he plays. I can know how to take him out. That would be fucking great.
Yeah. And I mean, like, dude, just the implication of being able to use this system in any kind of video game just makes that sound like so much better. Like, it could change how even computer fighting in fighting games works. Yeah, because it could make your opponent feel more alive. It could give that essence of what the computer misses instead of having to do input reads. So, like Street Fighter 6, when it first came out, everyone knew this. It was a big fucking widespread thing. But you put the computer on computer level 8, that motherfucker was reading your inputs every time. You do something, it insta-countered. It would be like, oh, you did that? I know exactly how to counter that. And it would just everything. It was terrible. Even pros were having problems playing level 8s. It was funny. It was like a big running joke in the community because we were just like, dude, how the fuck am I gonna beat somebody who knows what I'm gonna do before I do it? But you know, it's that kind of system with the AI that could change it, because then you could, you know, set your opponent to be at a certain level, give them a relatively accurate assessment of what that level of difficulty is, and then from there it can just grow. It can be better. It can learn and become better. It's such a unique kind of interesting take on how video game what's the word? Shoot. How video game, damn dude.
I don't know,
it
bro.
Is not my day today.
No, it's not.
It's just not. How like the pathing and behavioral aspects of the computer and NPCs can be extremely changed. Like, imagine NPCs with this AI system involved. It could make towns feel more alive. That would make people moving around feel more natural.
It would fix Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, because I am so sick of these games. You know, Rockstar is great at making these games. They're touted as incredible, especially with GTA. But they have the worst fucking AI on the planet, because I still don't have an explanation as to how, for example, you kill like a thug and you start like a gunfight. You know, you break into somebody's car. How the fuck do the police know exactly where you are right away and exactly know that you did it? There's nobody, or at least Watch Dogs had the cell phone thing where they're like, oh, this guy's making a call to the cops. Okay, intercept the call, block it, hack, bam. GTA doesn't fucking do that. There's nobody around you. I don't see anyone making a call. You don't hear anything. And the police automatically know where you are all the fucking time. Like, that's not realistic at all, even though they're trying to make a simulator game based on, you know, Los Angeles or whatever. You know, that would be great to put this AI shit in there.
The thing with that is we have to remember, how old is Grand Theft Auto 5?
It's like, I don't know, 10 years old or something, maybe.
That game came out in 2014.
But all their games are like this.
It was a PS3 game.
All their games do this. All the AI act exactly the same.
2,
Grand Theft Auto 3, 4, 5, RDR 1 and 2 have stupid AI.
They were working on very sorry, don't mind me. I'm sorry, guys.
This dude's always itchy. He's nasty.
No, it's just itchy.
I have a back scratcher too. It's okay.
But yeah, there is definitely a nice. There's definitely a lack of care when it comes to that, but you have to also remember that the way that they're developing those like large sprawling cities, it's very difficult to have dedicated focus onto certain things. So the whole experience of GTA is that you steal something, you kill someone, you perform any crime, and then the next point of contact is going to be a police contact. It's what makes it a little bit more fun. The thing with Grand Theft Auto 5 is that it's a little bit better at not having the cops show up immediately.
Yeah, but you can still. They fix this in mods. They allow the cops to act like cops, take a while, talk to NPCs, and be like, "Oh, was this guy? He looked like this. He ran off in this car." Then they can follow you. Like, modders can do this. Why can't the company do this? Modders do it for free.
It's such a specific.
But it's an annoying thing.
It is. Most of the people that are going to go play Red Dead Redemption or play Grand Theft Auto aren't looking for a real life simulator of police contact or fucking crime therapy. Okay, like they're going in to shoot some people and run around like a crazy person and just keep shooting people. The only way to do it is to keep it arcadey. These games are inherently arcadey from the get-go. Just because of the sandbox-esque style of the game. Given Red Dead Redemption 2 is a lot more grounded. It does feel a lot more refined.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. You know, it is definitely after Grand Theft Auto 5, they took what they learned in Grand Theft Auto 5 and put it into that. And it shows. It definitely shows. It does feel like a more living, organic world than Grand Theft Auto 5 does. Grand Theft Auto 5 still feels like a PS3 game, even though it is this old. Yeah. Or even though it is still being sold well into this generation, which is fucking phenomenal. Like, whoever's doing marketing at Rockstar is just killing it, because that's insane that you got a game to be fucking pushed for 10 fucking years.
Yeah. They're trying to beat Minecraft.
I guess. But even Minecraft wants to make a sequel.
Well, the creator does, not Microsoft, but yeah.
But yeah, that, you know, honestly, this topic specifically with AI and like difficulty stuff kind of ties into the main thing I wanted to talk about this week anyways. Difficulty in video games, it's like it is such a subjective.
Yeah, okay.
Jesus Christ, I'm sorry,
bro, you're out of it.
Subjective, dude. I had like 2 hours of sleep.
He's weak. I can function better.
And I slept for like 4 hours before that.
Terrible.
And then I went to work.
Terrible.
So
eat a monster.
It's a very subjective thing. The caffeine's still kicking in. It's starting to work. I can feel it down my spine, you know? You know, like the BAA ants that you feel when you take pre-workout? I'm starting to feel it.
No, I don't take pre-workout.
Oh, you're missing out, dude.
I don't need pre-workout. My pre-workout is anger. Which I have all the time.
So,
yeah, video game difficulty. Getting back to that.
The video game difficulty. It's very subjective to the person. Nobody wants to hop in like we were saying with Red Dead, how it's very much closer to an organic, living, breathing world.
Yeah,
it feels a lot more tendered, cared to than Grand Theft Auto 5 will.
Yeah.
Even with response from, you know, authorities in that game, it is very similar. But it is also a set piece where response times in that kind of world were fucking
slow.
Dog shit. No, slow is not a good word.
And you can go from county to county and have different crimes in either one, and you won't be followed by the AI, which I'm like, this is great because this makes sense.
Exactly. And that's a kind of difficulty that is open-ended, because you can make it as difficult as you want.
Yeah.
But it isn't going to be the be-all end-all when you fuck up really bad. It's open to new players and veteran players alike. But that's like the thing with the difficulty, is that it changes things. This AI could change the way that the landscape works in terms of difficulty of games. It could make some of these games insanely hard.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't have to be implemented everywhere. I take that, you know, with a grain of salt, however you want. It doesn't need to be everywhere, but using it and finding a way to make the system work for other things can make games change phenomenally. And with that AI system implemented into the difficulty spikes of games, things like Monster Hunter Wilds that just released, everyone has been complaining.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny that everyone's been complaining about it, because there's a multitude of things, and I'll get into that in just a minute. But the major thing that seems to be consistent, aside from the problems with the graphics running on PC, is that the difficulty doesn't feel like it's there. And a lot of different outlets have covered it. VGC, IGN, you name it. Everybody in between has looked at this game and given their thoughts and reviews and how-tos and how-don'ts. And it does seem to be a very newcomer geared, more friendly aspect of the Monster Hunter series, compared to World, compared to original Monster Hunter games before Rise, everything. And that's fine. I think that the bosses should be getting this tuned treatment to where they're not always so hard, of course, yeah. But you can tell when a player is good. The AI system could fix that difficulty problem.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be damn near impossible to beat. You can always put a limiter or a cap on that AI system to, prevent it from being a certain way. But having that in a game where you're getting complaints already from players that are saying it's way too easy, and these are veteran players. These are players who had to learn how to play Monster Hunter by fucking sticks and stones, dude.
Like the original Monster Hunters were hard.
Exactly.
So yeah, they need to. They're from that era.
And
they're complaining.
It's understandable because people expected that kind of thing, especially with how World was. People have been going back and playing that before Wild's even.
That shit was hard for me, and it was my first fucking Monster Hunter. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I suck at this game.
And the funny part was Monster Hunter World was not as hard as some of the older ones.
Apparently not.
It has progressively gotten easier over time, every time. So it's just funny that now it's getting to that. Oh no, what's going on to my Monster Hunter? It's like, dude, we've been having this happen. You've seen this happen. Why didn't you say something sooner? But yeah, that's the thing. It's like difficulty is so subjective. So how do developers, how do publishers find that spot? How do they find that sweet spot where they can cater to all of their customers? Because obviously someone's going to get hurt. There's no way to perfectly cater to everybody. You make a game too easy, the hardcore players complain. You make it too hard,
that's what the difficulty slider is for. But then if you're because I remember when a couple years ago, I believe, before Elden Ring came out, people were like, "Oh, should Dark Souls games have an easy mode?" This was a big topic for a month, and I'm just like, "No, these games are designed to be hard for a reason. So if your goal is to make a difficult game, there should not be a difficult slider. If you want to cater to more casual people, sure, put in a difficulty slider. But if you want people to love your vision for the way it is, don't have a difficulty slider. Make it as hard or as easy as you want to, and then have modders can fix it or whatever. But in my opinion, no, don't worry about the difficulty that much if you want to have a good core group of fans and whatever, because there's all these other games that have difficulty sliders. I mean, even in fucking Space Marine, which I don't have yet, they added another difficulty, and people were like, "Oh my god, this is fucking hard." Because you guys wanted it to be harder. Here you go, play harder.
Yeah, and it's funny that you bring that up, because I think actually that whole topic for that month was actually brought up because of Elden Ring.
Yeah,
because there were so many new players that had never touched a Soulsborne game and hopped into this game and into this genre with no fucking warning whatsoever. Because we all know Soulsborne games are not forgiving in the slightest. They don't give you. They give you about 5 tutorial things to pick up, and then they're like,
"You're on your own,
solid, buddy. Good luck." And it was the same way in Elden Ring. You start off, you get first boss, you're like, "Oh, I can't beat this boss." Here's a little secret: you can beat the boss.
No
but
shit.
It's built in a way that is difficult to beat, especially your first time, when you don't, like we were talking about earlier, memorizing Souls bosses' layouts and the way they move and all that bullshit. Without knowing the moveset, without knowing how the enemy reacts, it's very hard to react to it immediately and know exactly what's coming each time. So obviously, it's a bit of a slanted kind of fight. You're not intended to beat it, but if you do, good for you. You win. Here's something cool. Go ahead and continue the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, people jumped in. They didn't know what the fuck was happening, and they walked out not realizing that you don't have to fight everything you see right away. And it then in turn continued to try to beat a tree sentinel, which for those of you who haven't played Elden Ring is a very difficult boss. Not to mention being put right in front of the exit point of the very beginning area and telling you, yeah, here you go wild, have fun, figure it out. So people got pissed. They started protesting, and not protesting, but speaking out online in forums and mediums here and there, and just saying, hey, you guys should add the difficulty slider. And people are just like, no, that's the whole point of the game,
is to be hard. Yeah.
And I agree with you with your point that I think developers and publishers shouldn't give two shits about it.
No.
I think they should build the game as they are intended to build it.
Yes.
Their vision makes stuff so much better when they follow their vision.
Yeah.
And we see that happen all the time with like projects of love like that, like Miyazaki working on all of his Soulsborne games. Even Elden Ring, he said in an interview relatively recently that Elden Ring is not what he quite wants yet, even though it is probably one of his best games that he's made so far and one of the craziest From Software titles that will ever exist. He doesn't think that's his perfection. At the time, he got it to what he wanted and he did what he did, but he's still not there, and he gets that, and he keeps moving forward on it. He keeps focusing on what his desire is for his perfect game,
and his fans love him for it.
Yeah, and you can see that in other things. You can see it in the God of War series. You can see it in things like It Takes Two. You can see it in games like Terraria, where a developer or a publisher has gone all in on what they want, on what story they want to tell, on what kind of game it's going to be.
Baldur's Gate 3.
And Baldur's Gate 3, a perfect example of that too. They did what they wanted to do and focused hard down on it without worrying about what everyone else wants. And guess what happened? All these games became major hits. They became beloved by their communities. So it's like people complaining online, sure, it's a normal fucking thing nowadays. Like we are beyond used to it at this point. I don't see how we couldn't be beyond used to it, because everyone complains about everything nowadays. And I get it. You're entitled to your opinions, whether they're right or wrong, whatever have you.
Yeah.
Just like the difficulty of the game, though, that opinion is subjective, because people know what they're getting into when they do certain things. It's like, do your research, figure out what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Be happy with the product you get. Like, be happy with the things we're being given. Like, there was something recently where where people were complaining about something. It's like, exactly, people always complain, and I get it. I look at these things from a different prism than most people do, from a different type of a different mindset in a way. I know we talked about this before in previous podcasts, and I've used the word multiple times, but I do think of myself as more of a prosumer than a consumer. A consumer would be somebody that is very base level, and or they're only in it for this, for the title, for that and that.
Yeah.
To be fair, a consumer would be somebody who every year is like, oh, are you excited for the new Call of Duty game? And all your friends are like,
basic
yes, I'm
people
super excited for the new Call of Duty game. The new Madden game, I'm fucking super excited for the new Madden game.
That's everybody I run into.
Don't get me wrong. It's cool. It's fine. That's totally normal. You're okay doing that. It doesn't need to be this big fucking thing all the time. But I will say that there are definitely those moments where you have what do you call it? Where you look at things in a different light. You either stay a consumer your whole time, or you get to the point where people are starting to talk more in depth about certain things like game systems, development styles, things like that. And I look at those kinds of things. So as from the prosumer side, I want developers to do what they want, because their vision ends up becoming something much better when you put the time and character into it,
Yeah.
Consumers will complain about almost everything every day. It's going to happen no matter what. Oh, Jesus Christ.
What are you doing?
Trying to find the right lighting.
It's fine already. Fuck. Camera. No, but I understand, because I remember when Baldur's Gate 3 came out, people were bitching about it. I'm like, what are you complaining about now? And I go to forums like on Steam and whatever, and people are like, this is a terrible game. Why is it top down? Why is it turn based? I'm like, because that's the game. Did you not research what the company Larian does? Did you not research what Baldur's Gate is? It's a top down, it's isometric fantasy game based in D&D that doesn't have action cameras and everything. They're like, well, it would be better, or they should have an option to have you in third person. No, bitch, go play another fucking game. If you want actiony Baldur's Gate games, go play Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Baldur's Gate 3 is not that.
Go play fucking Veilguard.
Go play Veilguard. Yeah, go play that shit. Yeah, people were like, "Why can't it be something else?" I'm like, "No, because this is what it meant to be." Like you failed to. Yeah. A lot of consumers fail to do their research. They get the game and they're disappointed with it, and they return it. I'm like, what do you expect? You didn't research it.
And again, that's it's crazy. Bringing that up is the part where it's like you see the craziness in it. It's like, yeah, you don't notice those things until you're on that prosumer kind of side of things, where you're looking at things through a much more critical lens, or you're being more investigative in your procedures of things. You know studios, you know what they've done. You've played their games before, and if they're a new studio, you know who they're working with, who's working with them, what kind of games they're building, which publisher is supporting them, what brand are they working with, where
is it the same team, is it a new team, stuff like that.
Yeah. Are they a recomped team from previous games that has been put together for something by a bigger owner or a conglomerate, or are they an actual indie team who has worked on many big games and said we're making our own studio? You know, being able to see those kinds of things does give you an advantage in making your choices. Sure. But that's like you said, have you seen Larian? Do you know what kind of games they make? Do you even know what this kind of game is? That is the prosumer side of looking at things. Yeah. And most people won't do that, unfortunately.
No, they just bought it because they're like, oh, it's going to be game of the year. It's going to be good.
And
the fuck?
And don't get me wrong, it pulls people in. It makes it gives those consumers a voice too, because they're able to say, hey, I played this game. I didn't really like it, but I can see the vision here. I can see what's going on. I get why other people would like it. But people just you don't have to be assholes about it. There's no reason for you to go in and say, why'd you make the game like this? You should have done this. It's like, dude, you want it that badly. Go open your own studio.
Yeah,
you'll figure it out.
Do it yourself.
You'll get it there. But I just feel like a lot of consumers these days are not happy with what they get. And for good reason in some certain circumstances, it's within
Suicide Squad.
But again, we're not going to touch that one.
I know
that is a ticking time bomb.
Gotham Knights,
it's a ticking time bomb that already went off. But
I know.
But yeah, the difficulty in games being subjective. Totally. Does every game need to be a fucking Elden Ring?
No.
Does every game need to be a fucking Animal Crossing? No.
Stardew Valley? No.
Or Stardew Valley. That is perfect. Variety, my friends. Yeah. That is the beauty of having these video games be so big, sprawling, why the industry is full of fresh ideas and new thoughts and stuck on remasters and all sorts of other things. It's the variety topic. It is whatever it can be, whatever you want it to be, in the medium continues to evolve with it.
Yeah.
You can play hardcore, you can play on easy for the story. It doesn't matter. Just please be nice to the developers. They put so much work into it. There's no reason to be nasty to people who are trying their best to make something that their vision sees, you know?
Yeah. I totally agree.
But yeah. MIR5. Put that shit into everything.
Mir 5. Yeah, please. That would be fucking awesome.
It would be so cool. I'm very excited. Super excited to see how that turns out and how the future of that grows into gaming itself. But I think that's basically the main thing. I think there's a few more geek news things we can run through real quick. To knock out.
So a couple new things. Creature Commando Season 2 was fast tracked. That's James Gunn's first entry into the new DCU, which if you haven't watched it, go check it out. There's only 7 episodes. It's basically a non-human version of the Suicide Squad, because after Suicide Squad 2, after the Suicide Squad movie,
there you go.
Amanda Waller was called by the United States government and they're like, hey, you can't be using humans anymore because we lost our citizens in the battle. You have to use non-humans. And she's like, okay, I'll use these other freaks instead to go carry out this mission. It's great. James Gunn does what James Gunn does best. He brought in unknown characters to me and all these fans. I didn't know who the fuck these guys were. I watched it. I shed a tear. I was like, this is great storytelling. I love these characters. Just like when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, I didn't know who the hell they were. Nobody did that wasn't a comic book fan. And then he made Guardians 1, and it was like, holy shit, he knows what he's doing. So they gave him 2 and 3.
So what's interesting about that whole thing, though, is that I've been kind of following it. I haven't watched it myself. I don't have HBO Max right now. I didn't want to fucking get it just for one show.
Pirate.
The interesting thing about it is that while it is of DC quality, the animation is good. The artwork is great.
Yeah.
The characters are new and unique, which is what DC needs, in my opinion, to make this new DCU work.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of division on this series somehow. A lot of people don't like the writing. There's just people online complaining about it. It's very bland writing. The story is very generic. The characters themselves are kind of dumb-ish.
Well, they're criminals that
they are criminals.
Got arrested for the wrong thing for the most part, which is what also James Gunn does, because a lot of his villains or villain characters are not purely one-dimensional. Like you look at Eisen in Bleach. He's a one-dimensional villain. He's just evil. There is no good side. He's just evil. Frieza is just evil. But you look at Joker is just evil. But you look at characters like the Weasel. It's like, okay, who is this guy? He got arrested. Why did he get arrested? I'm going to say, what? Do you care if I spoil it?
He ate a bunch of babies.
No. It looked like he ate a bunch of babies, but he was caught for the wrong reason. But because he can't speak words, he can't tell the cops what really happened. So what's going to happen is the cops are like, oh, there's a monster. There's dead children around him. We're going to arrest him. He caused this fire. We're going to send him to prison for the rest of his life. When he didn't do that. What happened with the Frankenstein's bride? She wasn't a criminal before. She was brought to life. And then Frankenstein's monster, he's just like, oh, you're going to be my wife. And she has no interest in him. Frankenstein's monster kills the creator. And the bride is like...
he sleeps with her.
Yeah, because the creator fell in love with her and she fell in love with him. And Frank is just like, oh, you slept with my bride. I'm going to kill you now. And the bride's like, I will never forgive you for this. Go fuck yourself. And he's constantly like, nah, she still loves me sort of thing. And she's always trying to kill him because of that stupid shit. So these guys have multiple dimensions and makes it completely interesting. I don't know where people are like, oh, this is bland. This is not bland at all. Y'all are crazy.
From what I've seen, it's something along the lines of the storylines themselves of the date or the episode to episode stuff has been subpar compared to James Gunn's writing. And I don't think he wrote this one, right?
He did. This is his show.
He wrote
the
his show and producing. I don't know.
He wrote and directed it.
Maybe he's got some better ideas for it and long-term goals, is considering there's a season 2 and everything. But people just haven't felt drawn into it from what it seems. It seems like the episodes tend to have this story going and then something happens and they're like, oh, I don't care. Blang. Sort of approach. Again, I haven't watched it myself. The reviews from critical side and from consumer side have both been here and there. There's a lot of people praising it. There's a lot of people saying, what the hell? I don't know. But I'm glad to see that it's done well enough to get a second season, because maybe you can fix certain things that some people have problems with on the second season.
Well, he also greenlighted it himself. It's not really like it didn't go through a process. He's just like, this is my show. I decided to greenlight it. It's like, oh,
must be nice.
Well, he's the CEO. He can do that. Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. Amazon has
Amazon now
a lot of control over the 007 stuff. So
they have full creative control. So it's going to go to shit, in my opinion. Amazon sucks.
I mean, they've been putting out a decent amount of like spy centric stuff recently. They put out Citadel, and Citadel did well enough to, I guess, get a second season. Also, the Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Donald Glover. That one apparently was very good, very well received by both, the general public and critical reviewers.
I just don't trust Amazon because of what they did with Lord of the Rings, with Rings of Power. I'm just like, I lost my trust for you. You can have animation like Invincible, That's fine. But with live action stuff, it's a lot of hit or miss. So I just don't. I don't have a lot of
Reacher's pretty fucking good.
Reacher, yeah. Okay, Reacher. That's one big show. But that's mostly Bethesda, not really Amazon. That's Bethesda and Bethesda people that know the game and all of that. It's not necessarily Amazon. But
still published by
Amazon, hit or miss with Amazon because Rings of Power is still shit. And that's their most expensive show.
A lot of people actually, other people, there are a lot of people that like Rings of Power.
I don't care that they like it. It's fucking an insult to Tolkien's work. And that's why they can't use a lot of fucking named characters because they don't own the rights to it. So it's just a terrible story. Any real Tolkien fan would fucking hate this. The fact that you're humanizing orcs pisses me off. Orcs are evil. There's no, I want to take care of a family. They're evil. Stop trying to humanize orcs. Fucking Amazon. I mean, this is why I don't trust them because they ruined it.
I get you. Maybe evil characters shouldn't get it, but I like that sort of thing. I like knowing that because it's true that a lot of the things in the world are very gray.
Yes, but this is Lord of the Rings. It specifically has a guideline in his books. This is this and this is this. There's no in between. They're evil. Orcs are all evil and have always been evil. There's no nice orcs. This isn't fucking Warcraft where you have the Horde and they're acting nice and shit with humans from time to time. These are orcs in Tolkien's universe. They're going to kill people and pillage and rape people. That's what they do. They've always done that. You can't change that. If you do, it fucking pisses off the fans, like me included. But I'm going to digress from that.
I haven't gotten around to Rings of Power, but I've been thinking about it. Just been waiting to. Second season supposedly was pretty good, but I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Other news, Magic the Gathering has a Final Fantasy collab. Not surprising considering they collab with everything like fucking Fortnite. Which I'm excited for this because I want Tidus, the card. I'm not going to pay $70 for his commander deck because I don't play physical anyway. I just want the Tidus card and I want Sin's card. That's about it. Any Final Fantasy X shit I want, then I'm going to I'll probably have it graded so I can just have it for fun. Are you going to get any cards from that?
Cool. I might. I saw that they released some teasers of the Spider-Man pack.
Oh, yeah, that's right. This fucking Marvel collab,
that one looked pretty cool. Very classic Spider-Man designs from what I saw. So I'm actually kind of a little bit more interested in that than the Final Fantasy one. If I got anything from the Final Fantasy one.
Cloud Sephiroth.
Maybe, yeah. It depends. I got to see the artwork on some of the other cards. But I definitely wanted to get a Terra. But again, like you said, I don't physically really play Magic anymore.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have a collection.
I don't have many friends that do. It would be fun to play that kind of deck, but knowing Magic players, they all fucking live in mom's basement, don't shower. And they're all
sweaty. Yeah.
So
convention goers.
Why would I fucking play a game with a bunch of people who aren't gonna let me have fun? They're just gonna play fucking meta and it's gonna be boring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Dragon Ball Super One Shot Chapter 104 came out 2 weeks ago. That is a continuation of Trunks and Goten's story. It's basically their origin of how they got to be superheroes, similar to Great Saiyaman. So go check that out. They made, if you remember, a non-canon character after Goku goes to Otherworld after he dies against Cell. That whole canon where Pikkon is there.
If
is good.
Boo's canon, Pycon's canon.
Yeah, that's not how that works. Ollie Boo was a Earth hero because in the manga, there's a couple panels where Goten and Trunks are visiting the Hall of Superheroes that saved Earth or whatever. Goku is there as a child, but he has a question mark on his face because nobody remembers what he looks like. Ollie Boo's there. He's out in front. And he's the character that looks like a Greek person in the anime. So that's cool that he was canonized. That's one thing I can like about what Dragon Ball is doing. They're making things that are not canon as well as giving more information and lore to things that didn't really need it, but it's this is actually cool. Like Namekians in general coming from the demon realm and Daima. I'm I didn't fucking know that. But yeah, that was a fun thing. Volume 24 of the manga comes out with chapters 101 to 104 in April. And then after that, who knows? Because there's been no news on Toyotaro making chapter 105 or whatnot. But that's what everybody's hoping to have news on by the end of the year.
Missed a good segue on that Creature Commandos rant. the new Teen Titans movie.
Oh yes, there's now
They're stuck in the same DC category for a minute.
Oh yeah, James Gunn said he's always saying that he's not going to make a movie or announce a movie unless there is a completed and it's a good script. He has done that for Teen Titans. He's read it and he's like, this is good. It has started early production. I'm guessing that's just pre-production, obviously, but I can't wait to see it. I'm hoping it's Team B because they said, James Gunn has said that the Blue Beetle will return with Sholo as the main actor who played him in the Blue Beetle movie, because he's a part of the B team according to the I think it's in the comics, but I saw it in one of the Justice League movies. It was Starfire, Damian is Robin, Blue Beetle, and a couple other. I think it was like Kid Flash or something, and like another character or whatnot. It would be really cool to see them on screen. As Teen Titans. It'd be
a nice change of pace from the standard Teen Titans roster, which everybody
knows
Boy,
them.
Raven, Starfire,
Cyborg,
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that seems like a good play. I think Teen Titans would be a good pick for the DC universe, especially because they're such fan favorite they're a fan favorite group.
Hell yeah. It'd be nice to add Blackfire because that's everybody's goth chick, apparently, that grew up watching the show. But yeah.
But in terms of other movie stuff, we've got the Star Wars Andor Season 2 trailer. It looks pretty good.
It looks great.
And Kathleen Kennedy is leaving her position at Lucasfilm, so we're getting a new successor.
Yeah, she specifically said she's not retiring, but she's stepping down as president of Lucasfilm. She's going to look for a successor and spend the rest of the year training them to take over her position, which is good.
It has to be a very in-house kind of thing, because you don't just randomly step down.
No.
There wasn't any sign of this coming. I'm assuming that the Star Wars franchise just has not been pulling what Disney wants it to do.
No.
So they said, we're not going to fire you because you've done stuff, just hasn't been what we were hoping for. Despite
all the hatred she gets for the sequels, she I don't know how much in charge she's been, but under her leadership, great shows have come out. One of the best being Clone Wars Season 7. That is the greatest part of Star Wars that has ever fucking come out, especially the last 5 minutes in the last episode of Season 7. It's the greatest fucking part of Star Wars. Mando, yes, but it doesn't hold a candle to the end of Clone Wars. Bad Batch got their own shows as well. Andor, Solo, Rogue One, all that. Why are you shaking your head for Clone Wars? Are you telling me that the end...
You just shot down Mando like that.
Because it doesn't compare to... You don't cry from fucking Mandalorian, especially... Even though you see Luke and Ahsoka, it's like, oh, cool. You don't cry like every guy did at the end of Clone Wars. That is the saddest...
Didn't even watch it.
You're a bitch. For those of you who haven't seen it, basically, I'll try to sum this up. In the last 5 minutes, this is happening at the same time Revenge of the Sith is going on. Anakin and Obi-Wan go after General Grievous and to get the Chancellor. Ahsoka takes a separate battalion. She's no longer a Jedi. She was given new lightsabers by Anakin, blue ones. She takes a separate battalion of clone troopers from the 501st, calls them the 332nd. They paint their helmets with Ahsoka's face artwork or whatever. I don't know what's tattoos and paint. Her goal is to save Mandalore. Mandalore is under assault from Maul because Maul took over Mandalore because he wants to take down Sidious himself. He doesn't like Sidious at all, and he knows Anakin is coming and is going to be the ruin of everything. He's sensed it in the Force. He confronts Ahsoka the same moment that Anakin is turning to the fucking dark side during this show. And Ahsoka doesn't believe him. They fight each other. It gets to a point where the inhibitor chips and the clones get activated. Order 66 goes out. All the soldiers that fought with Ahsoka for several years during the Clone Wars now point their guns towards her, including Captain Rex, a fan favorite character. And so she has to run away and try not to kill them. And at the same time, not let Maul get away. Maul gets away. The Republic Venerator ship, because they're not Star Destroyers yet, that was carrying Ahsoka and the clones, crashes into the planet that they're nearby, and she has to bury the bodies of all the soldiers that she fought with. It is fucking depressing. And the last shot is Vader walking up years later to that very site, finding Ahsoka's dropped lightsabers because she's like, I'm not doing this anymore. Picks it up, ignites it, looks at the clone's helmet, looks up into the sky to see this mystical bird thing, which I'm not going to get into, that's connected to Ahsoka, walks away, and it symbolizes the end of the Clone Wars and the start of the Empire. That is the most powerful moment in all of Star Wars, and it was done under Kathleen Kennedy's thing. I know it was mostly Dave Filoni, but it was fucking cinematic. As the meme goes, absolute cinema. There's nothing better than that always gets me every time I hear the music and watch the scene. It's the best fucking part of Star Wars next to Maul fighting Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine and dying in a cinematic way. So, yeah, don't give me that. Mando's great. This is fucking
Mando
fantastic.
I love Mando.
Seasons 1 and 2.
That shit got me. I enjoyed that.
Seasons 1 and 2.
But yeah. I mean, it's obviously good. You can see it in how passionate you are about
it.
But, like, it's just I just never did. Never got to.
If you don't watch Clone Wars, you got it because Clone Wars is the story of the clones. If you don't want a story about the Jedi, if you're sick of Jedi, this is about the other people and the clones learning how to be individual and not just part of a machine, and learning that they were betrayed and watching them get pushed out by conscripted troops that are now the Empire, because there's no more clones left in the Empire. They're gone. They're either dead because they were killed by Palpatine's orders, or they just went into hiding because, they didn't want them anymore. It's very sad, but they do a good job of that. And you'll see a lot of what the Empire can do in Andor. It's the least Star Wars show because it shows from a point of view the average citizen and how they view the Empire. And the Empire doesn't give a fuck. They even show torturing in there. Saul Guerrero is in there, and he's an extremist political figure. He goes the distance with proving his point by murdering countless stormtroopers and Empire target figures. He doesn't give a shit. He's like Malcolm X in the sense of, we need to do shit through violence so they'll learn their lesson. Versus everyone else is like, no, we should do this peacefully. Like, the Empire's not going to listen to peace. They're going to fight you regardless. So, yeah, you should check out Andor. It's really good.
Definitely if you haven't watched it. And then, other than that, we got some new Pokemon stuff. ZA looks good. Champions is a new combat-based game. We'll get more on that once we get better.
ZA finally has combat that looks like the anime, which is what everyone has wanted with Pokemon combat battles.
And again, we've only seen videos. We haven't touched it. No one's gotten hands-on yet, so we don't really know how it's going to feel and how it's going to play. It's just rose-tinted glasses at the moment that we're hoping that it's going to be great.
Yes.
Fable gets delayed to 2026, which that's fine. It happens. Microsoft is, if they believe that they need to put more time onto it, I'd rather have them do that than have another
I'll still play it. I like Fable.
A Redfall problem, you know. And we got like good video of Fable running recently.
It looks like there's Witcher combat in there for sure.
Very, very Witcher-like kind of combat. But it looks great. It looks good so far. So
despite the ugly character,
there's a lot that they have to do.
Fix the character.
Imagine the character's not that bad. You're just being a baby. And then last but not least for our news, something that I think is super fucking cool. Tanya the Evil gets its second season leaked in a YouTube video. What was it? The creator?
No, one of the animators.
No, it was one of the animators. They were talking about some
casually said that it's coming out next year, and we're like, what? What?
Very casual. But yeah, that's a good one. If you guys haven't watched that, check out Tanya the Evil. It's an isekai.
We tell the story.
Granted, but it is a dude who gets reincarnated into another world. And he comes back as a girl. And as this girl, he's like, he was a very middle of the road kind of guy in the first life. In the new one, he's like, I'm gonna get all the way to the top. So he becomes this military person, joins the military, and becomes
it's basically like Germany,
it's basically a
alternate version of the Nazi
it's an
Germany.
Alternate timeline of World War II where magic exists and things like that. But they use it with like World War II what do you call it? Machinery, technology, things like that. But it's also magically infused kind of things. It's really neat. It's very fun.
There's only 12 episodes.
Really, really dark. But
it's very dark.
Really fucking cool. Really good story.
And it has a movie that continues after that. It's only in Japanese, which I watched.
Yeah, it's a good movie too. But yeah, Tiny the Evil season 2. Can't wait to see that. But 2026 is so far away, and so far away is not fun.
No.
But right now, you guys can go to our Patreon and get all of our videos right when we record them, right when they release.
For a doll hair.
3 days earlier than everyone else, and not have to wait through ads, and you can watch all that stuff. You guys can enjoy the episodes as they are.
We have ads?
But well, I'm pretty sure YouTube has ads on the videos regardless.
No.
Sure about that?
We're not monetized yet. They don't do that.
Just because we're not monetized.
I've watched our video. We don't have ads on our.
Interesting. Well then, if you don't want to get lame other stuff and you want to get ahead of the curve and not get ads whenever we get monetized, then you should subscribe to our Patreon. It's only $1, and yeah, it's a good time.
It is.
We should put more content and stuff on there. I just don't know what to put.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll do cool stuff. But go check that out. Our Patreon. Look up for the Geeks. You can find us everywhere else on YouTube. On YouTube at For the Geeks Podcast. On Twitch at For the Geeks Games. We do the streaming on YouTube. We stream our own stuff. On Twitch, you can find me as Yo-Yo Ninja Boy. I stream here and there, just kind of casual stuff, never anything too crazy, but I will be streaming this afternoon. I usually stream on the weekends. Seger will be streaming as well. And where can they find you, Seger?
You can find me at Seger Plays on Twitter as well as Twitch and Instagram. My main Instagram is Seger VFX. You can also go there for my photography and what have you, or if you want to listen to me bitch about everyday life because I hate people. There's that stuff too. But yeah, I stream. I try to stream every Friday, Saturday. I don't really here and there Sundays, but yeah, I'm currently streaming Terraria or Tabletop Simulator with my cousin and some friends on Fridays.
Yep.
And on Saturday nights, I'm going to go back to streaming Final Fantasy X because I have a lot of single player games that need to get done. So yeah, because I know later this year I definitely want to get through The Witcher 3 again, 100% it, and Skyrim for fuck's sake, because I've never beaten Skyrim because I get distracted. But
it's
yeah,
easy to get distracted in Skyrim.
Very much. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah, that's where you can find him. Again, you can catch this podcast on all podcasting services, Apple,
on Wednesdays
Spotify,
at 12 Pacific.
You get it. Yep, you get it noon on Wednesdays. Once a week we record on Sundays, and then you can get that right away on Patreon if you would so choose to. We would appreciate it. But you know, other than that, I don't got too much. Thank you guys for joining us this week. Yeah. We'll see y'all next week where we talk about some other cool stuff and figure our lives out throughout the week.
Yeah, I gotta pee.
Until then, enjoy your week. Stay safe. Stay hydrated. And as always, game like you mean it.
Booby lips.